Okay, so pelvic pain is very common in pregnancy, again because of all the different hormone levels that you've got in your body. Your pelvic joints are more relaxed as they make space for baby to grow, which can cause pain. If you are suffering with severe pelvic pain, you can have a chat with your midwife who can refer you for physiotherapy in the hospital. Other things you can do to help with pelvic pain are doing your pelvic floor exercises, and I'll post a link to the NHS information and guidance on pelvic floor exercises in pregnancy in the comments below this video. You can do little things at home to help with pelvic pain, such as try not to separate your knees too far apart, so making sure that when you're sitting down you try not to cross your legs, and that you try to sleep with your knees hip distance apart, maybe putting a pillow between your knees just to help with your pelvic alignment. There is yoga that you can do for pelvic pain, so I'll move on to show you some of those stretches. A lot of it's going to be on all fours, so we'll just stretch our wrists quickly first. Okay, so coming onto all fours then, taking care to keep your knees hip distance apart and pulling your baby into you so that your back is nice and flat. We're going to start just by circling our hips in one direction, just with small circles to start with. Coming to do larger circles, and then coming back down to smaller circles. And then we're going to do the same in the opposite direction. So starting with small circles, coming out to do larger circles, and then small again. So just sitting back and giving your wrists a bit of a break for a second. You can either stretch your wrists or you can rest in this position with your head down towards the mat. Okay, so coming back up to an all fours position, we're going to take our hips out to the side now, but in a figure of 8 position. So just take a few minutes to do these stretches, stretching your hips out to one side and then to the other. So once you've stretched for a few minutes in one direction, just change direction and do the stretches the other way. Okay, again, so coming to rest in this position or stretching your wrists just for a few moments. So the next stretch that we're going to do for achy hips is called the crocodile wiggle, and for those of you who've come to my classes before, this is a stretch that has got a bit of a reputation with mums who've been to the classes for helping their babies' heads to engage in the pelvis in late pregnancy. Now, it doesn't cause any harm or danger doing it earlier in pregnancy, but those towards the end of your pregnancies, this stretch could really help baby get into the right position for labour and birth. So starting in all fours, taking your knees a little bit wider apart, perhaps towards the outside of your mat. You're just going to start by shaking your hips from side to side, and then as you breathe out, you're just going to wiggle your hips all the way down towards the floor. So coming back up, shaking from side to side, and wiggling down towards the floor. So if we just do this stretch maybe 4 or 5 times, lovely. So that's a really good stretch to remember for early labour. If you're at home in early labour, that's a stretch you can do to help baby get into exactly the right position. So the last stretch that we're going to do for pelvic pain is called the rolling cat stretch. Now, we did this in the achy hips video, but I'll show you it again really quickly, and then you can take time to practice it at your own speed. So knees hip distance apart, pull baby into you so your back is nice and flat. As you breathe in, arch your back. As you breathe out, hips down towards the floor. Breathing in, come up onto your forearms, and breathing out, back to the starting position. So breathe in, arch your back. Breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. Lovely. Sorry about my other phone ringing there. So that is the end of your stretches for pregnancy yoga to help with pelvic pain. Don't forget to do the pelvic floor exercises in the video as well.